Hey there, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to be doing some acrylic skins, gluing for jewelry. I've got a festival coming up in a couple of days, and so I've got to get these glued so that they can dry overnight and be ready for the weekend. I've got a bunch of jewelry here. I ordered these from lilydees.com. I'll put the link below the video. And I ordered them as a set. So if I order a ring, I order the kit that comes with the glass. And what happens is you take the glass, you glue it down on your paint skin, let it dry overnight, then you cut it out and glue it into your ring. There's several steps. What I have done is I've laid out, I have earrings over here that are kind of out of the camera a little bit. There's these key pendants, there's bracelets, cuff bracelets, copper. I have some copper rings. These rings are adjustable, copper and brass and silver. Silver rings that are oval and not just round ones. I have a couple of silver turtles that have the glass that come with them. There's black turtles, copper turtles. I've got some beautiful, it almost looks like a pocket watch, but you glue the color or the paint inside and you've got this beautiful back on it. And this will hang from a necklace. There's silver and brass. There's some teardrop shapes. These are some bookmarks. And then I have, when I order the kit, if I order like a necklace kit, it's priced per necklace. You get the pendant, the piece of glass, and the chains that come with it. And so I've got all the chains and things set aside. But the first thing that I have to do is put glue in all the metal trays, and I have to glue all my glass pieces on top of where I want the pattern to be. I've got their glue, which is Lily Glaze, which comes from Lily Dees. People use diamond glaze. Some people use E6000, so there's different glues that you can use. I like Lily Glaze because it's water-based and there's no odor to it like the E6000 has. I have straight out paint skins that I've peeled off. I have paint skins that are on photo paper, paint skins that are on puppy pads, on butcher paper. They're on all kinds of things. So what I'm going to do is basically, like if I am doing a brass ring, I pretty much want some metallics in it. So I'm going to find where I want to glue my piece of glass and match it up with that ring for later on. So this is quite a process of picking out where you want from your different paint skins. I have tons set aside over here. All kinds of paint skins. This is on contact paper. So I've got to go through all my paint skins, figure out where I want to glue it down. Then I'll cut the piece down somewhat with my scissors, just so I'll have a little bit more order to everything. And I guess I could zoom out just a little bit so you can see a little more. But this is going to be a lengthy process, so what I do, let me just start on the first one. So I want to do a ring and a pair of earrings to match, and a necklace. I'll do a pendant necklace. And I do have one cuff bracelet that is brass, so maybe I'll do that too with this particular paint. So if I can move some of this out of the way. So I've got the ring, the pendant necklace, the teardrop necklace, a set of earrings, and the bracelet cuff. Necklace, ring, and earrings. So I've got all these glass cabochons that I need to glue down. And the one thing that I do definitely want to make sure is just that there's no fingerprints or oily residue or anything, so I'm going to wipe down my glass. And you can use a touch of alcohol if you need to remove any fingerprints or oily residue or anything like that. Alcohol is always good to use. So what you do is you kind of place your piece where it looks most pleasing to you, and that's strictly, your preference. Decide where all your larger pieces are going to be. And you want them to all have the cohesiveness as far as the color schemes. So like the pair of earrings need to look like they match somewhat. And just trying to figure out where I want my ring glass to be. Where they all look like a set. So maybe about right there. I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better. So what I do is I take one piece at a time. I put like a dot of glue, and I lay it down on the paint, and I kind of wiggle it around until I get it exactly where I want it. I can't remember exactly where I want it, but I think about right there. But you want to wiggle it till it almost doesn't move. And you don't want to put an excessive amount of glue, because then it'll totally encase your glass, and you don't want it to be totally encased, but you want a really good coverage, and you want to push really hard so that there's no air bubbles. That's pretty. That's really pretty right there. So I'm pressing really hard. And after it kind of sets up for a minute or two, it will not move. So I've got those, and I need to do my 2 earrings. So a little dot of glue, and I'm just putting barely a dot. Okay, the next one. Barely a dot. Turn it back over and lay it down and wiggle it. And then the ring part. And it's good if you get your hands in the glue to wipe them off with a damp paper towel so your hands don't just get covered with glue either. And then this piece for the ring. So trying to get all the colors. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. So those 4 pieces. Now I can take and just cut this paper out to make it smaller and more easy to handle. I can save this for later. I have a whole tub full of paint skins. But now, the next thing I want to do is, I have a not cardboard, it's a styrofoam meat tray. And this is good, in my opinion, for gluing your tray part, which you also need to do. You seal the metal with a layer of glue. So I'm going to put glue in here. On the sides and on the bottom. Just a nice thin coat. And then I'm gonna, this needs to be bigger. I'm just gonna set it inside this meat tray a little bit so that it kind of, the tray stays flat, because if you lay the bracelet down, the glue might slide a little bit. So now I'm gonna finish, I had some glue on my brush, I'm gonna put that on the earring. And what I can do is I can set it right in these little slots that I cut in my meat tray. It just takes very, very little glue, but you're sealing the metal with this layer of glue so that tomorrow when my piece is dry on the paper and I cut it out, I can glue into here, and it's going to do glue on glue and make a better bond. So I've got the ring. So I just push it down there, and then I've got the pendant, the teardrop pendant. So I'm going around the edges and the inside of the pendant tray and on the bottom of it. So the sides and the bottom, so that all of this metal is sealed with a layer of glue. And that can go right here with those pieces, and that is one full set that is ready. And the glue will set up on the metal pretty quickly, but I want to let this glue on the paint dry overnight, because then when you cut it away, it will not pull the glue away from your paper or paint. If it's still wet or moist, it might have a tendency to do that. So I go ahead and just let it sit overnight. It's just more precaution, but it's a good idea to do. So that's that one. And I'm going to fast forward through the rest of the process. I'm back for the second round of glue in the metal trays. All of the metal pieces, I'm going to do a second round of glue and let it dry for about an hour or so. Then I'm going to come back and cut out all my glass cabochons off the paint and glue them in. So I'm going to fast forward through this part, and I'm just going to add glue into all the different settings again one more time before I glue it in later with the glass piece. I've about cut out everything. I saved just a couple of pieces to cut out in front of you, slow motion. And I wanted to explain too that it depends on the surface that your drips dried on as to how it comes off. If you pour on, like I often will take mailer stuff that comes in the mail that's a little thicker, not cardstock, but between paper and shiny paper, and I'll pour leftovers onto it. You cannot peel that off the back of your paint skin, but you can peel off puppy pads. But there's two layers on a puppy pad. There's the fuzzy part, and then there's the plastic part that the paint sticks to. That peels away, so there's two layers. If it's photo paper, it will not peel off. If it's butcher paper, it does peel off. And this is butcher paper right here, and you have to catch the edge of it with your fingernail very gently. You cannot catch the edge of the paint because you don't want to peel that paint off the back of your glass that you just glued onto overnight. So you peel off the back, and the only way you know if there's no more layers of paper or like a really thin coat of plastic like on the puppy pad is your paint is going to feel a little bit sticky. That is the painted side, and that is the sticky part. That means you're down to the paint. You can't go any further. I wanted to point that out. So I've got a couple of more pieces, but like I said, you have to really be careful the way you catch it with your fingernail to not pull off the paint or pull the paint away from the glass, because if you do, then you'll have little air bubbles when you glue your glass cabochon into your setting, and it will not do right. Okay, so now I'm feeling this one, like this one feels sticky and this one doesn't. So there's still a layer, and it's a really thin layer. Sometimes it comes off with the butcher paper, and sometimes it stays. So here it is. It's like a little piece. It's like hair thin. It's very thin. I took the piece of paper part off, and there's this little plastic coating that also came off. But now when I touch my paint on the back side, it feels a little sticky. I know I'm down to the paint, and I'm good on that one. So you just have to you have to feel it. And now that I feel this back piece of this one, I know that I don't have everything off. It's not down to the paint because it's not sticky. But I don't want to mess up that edge of the paint, so I'm trying to very gently get it with my fingernail. It's a super thin coating. I'm having a hard time on this one. And if it won't come off, I don't push it. I would just leave it. If it doesn't want to come off, then it means it's stuck to the paint pretty good. So I'm not going to try to take that one off. So I'm removing the butcher paper off the back of this piece. It did not peel off the little plastic coating, so I'm going to see if I can get that now with my fingernail. There, I got it. This one I got. See, it's just a little thin layer. It's almost like the feeling of like when you peel your skin after you've been sunburnt. That's how you can kind of tell that you've gotten that layer of really thin plastic coating. So I'm cutting the last couple of pieces, and then the fun part is just gluing them into the metal tray settings and seeing the final results immediately. And once they're in there, they're glued, they're good to go. You can start wearing them immediately. You don't have to wait. The only reason I paint the glue into the tray on the first day, or the glass, the only reason I glue the glass down to the paint the day before is just to give it 24 hours to set up and let that glue really set up between the glass and the glue and the paint, so that there's no bubbles or air that gets in, and you have a better chance of getting a better piece of jewelry. Some people use an X-Acto knife to cut around their pieces. I use scissors. I have more control with scissors. I'm kind of dangerous with an X-Acto knife. Okay, this one I didn't get the paper, so I'm trying to get both layers. It really takes a fine coat of separation. Yeah, this one the paper needs to come off of it. That's why I saved one set just to show you exactly how I do it. But you cannot pull the edge of that paint up, or it will pull away from the glass that you glued it to. You really have to have fingernails to get to this stuff. but I'm on the home stretch. Oh, this was contact paper. This one was on contact paper. That's why it's harder. I'm peeling off the paper layer of the contact paper, but it doesn't go down any further than that. So I poured on the top side of the contact paper, and I'm peeling off that back paper that you pull off of contact paper, the back side. So this was contact paper on this set only. So you just want to get that one layer of the sticky contact paper. So that wraps up cutting all the pieces. So now I'm putting one more thin coat of glue into the settings. So this is pretty much the third coat that's gone into this metal setting. And this is going to be what glues my glass piece into the tray. So once you put the glue on, you press firmly and hold it and wipe away any excess glue. And I keep a damp paper towel to remove any excess that might squeeze out while you're pressing. So there's one set. This one's really cool. I'm actually going to put the glue on the piece of glass. I have better control that way. Sometimes it fits just barely in, just right. But you got to make sure you get it in flush. And that there's no paint that's hanging over the edges or glue or anything. Squeeze and wipe so you don't get any residue that stays on. You can get it off, but it's harder once it's dry. It's like this was done on photo paper, and photo paper does not peel apart. Believe me, I have tried, and it does not work. So just pressing firmly. So this had a ring. Some of these go in deeper than others too, like the rings. The glass does not go in very deep at all, and then some, like the turtle, it sinks down into the ridge, and on the rings there's very little of a rim at all. You just got to make sure you've got that glass glued nice and tight, so just pressing firmly. It's better to put too much glue than not enough, by the way. So squeeze firmly, and if glue squeezes out, that's okay. Just get it wiped off before it dries. It's just easier to get off while it's wet. Once it's dried, you have to kind of get it with your fingernail, that kind of thing. Okay, I finally finished gluing. My fingers are sore, that's for sure, from pressing so much, but I finally got it done. And so these are bookmarks. They all have some shimmer in them. Really pretty. These are pendants, actually. And they have a little thing, a hook at the top that you can put a chain through. Really, really pretty. And then here's just a separate locket that has the really pretty back on the back side. It looks like a pocket watch, but it's a necklace. This is just a separate ring. These are adjustable rings. That's what I like about them too from Lily D's, is it's adjustable. So it can fit any size finger. And I've got two, I don't do many of the black things. I've got two black necklaces with turtles, and this pretty copper colored turtle and ring set has metallics. And actually this ring goes with this turtle, I think. It can go with either one, I guess. Either way, it can go with either necklace. This one is a cuff bracelet that opens up. There's the necklace and the ring. Really pretty. Metallics. Good old Lily D's. Here's another pendant that is antiqued. It's the antique brass, which I really like the antique brass with the metallic golds. Purples are always really pretty. This is beautiful. It's very shimmery. It's got that beautiful shimmery, I think it's the brass from Deco Art, vintage brass that's so beautiful and shimmery. So that goes with the gold really well. And then this is another of the antiqued brass with metallics. And then a purple turtle and ring set. This one is purple and periwinkle, a little bit of turquoise, a pendant and ring. The blue, this is blue and silver. Got a little crumb. Trying to get it out with my fingernail. Sometimes you get little pieces of glue that dry or whatever that you have to get. But there's, it's grays and blues and black and white or silver. And this is a really strong pop of color with the silver. It's red and black and funky patterns. There were drips. So that kind of stands out. I can't remember. I don't think I showed this one. This is a ring, a necklace, and earrings that have metallic gold and a touch of purple and red together, which make a beautiful combination. And I don't know if I did this one or not, but here is a necklace, earrings, whoops, necklace, earrings, pendant, and ring. Dropping everything everywhere. I'm not a good hand model. But those are so beautiful, beautiful, because they got the violet purple color with gold, that shimmery gold. It's just gorgeous. So these are all ready for the festival, and then I've got all my chains, which I have to go through and separate out. I have some, they offer different styles of chain. There's some small loops, there's bigger loops, and they even have the ball chain, which I don't think I have any ball chains in here, but I have the copper chain, I have the black chain that has silver chain, antique silver, and the brass. And then they also include these little, if you need the little connector things to go over your necklace area. And they also have these too that they include for those that need to have over from a necklace pendant. If it hangs in a different, like this, you can't put the chain through it because it's going from front to back. So you have to put an attachment there and put your chain through it. So they include that with the kit. When you order the full kit, which is the jewelry, the glass, and the necklace chain, they include the little pieces that come with it, which is nice. That's why I always order, if I order a kit means it's the bookmark and the glass. If you order a bracelet, it's the bracelet and the glass. The ring, it's the ring and the glass. The earrings, it's the earring and the glass. I don't try to guess on the millimeters because everything is in millimeters, and I'm not good with that. And you might look at it and say, oh, that's 25 millimeters, and it might be a different size. I always order the kit. That way they send you the appropriate size to fit into the opening. This is a really pretty cuff bracelet too. It's the bright silver. It's not antiqued. So I've got the bright silver little locket that is so pretty, and then the earrings to match it. But I didn't have any, they don't have bright silver rings. The only silver rings they have are antiqued, which normally have, the antiquing in between the ridges on the round, and here's the oval one. It's antiqued, so it's not shiny silver, so I don't put a ring with that because it's a different color of silver. So that wraps it up for the jewelry making video. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, just make sure when you're cutting around your pieces, don't cut under the glass, cut to the edge of the glass but not under, because if you angle your scissors under the glass, it'll pull that paint away from the glass and it'll ruin the piece of jewelry. And also, depending on what you're, like this piece here is just paint, straight out paint. It's a little harder when you glue your glass onto this to cut it out. It's actually easier when it's on top of a piece of butcher paper or freezer paper or whatever. It just makes it easier to cut away, and then you just peel the paper off the back. But like I said, again, I sometimes use paper that comes in the mail that's, an advertisement for something. I might use freezer paper, butcher paper, puppy pads, photo paper, and some really, really lightweight card paper that when the glue is glued to, when the paint is glued to the card, it's not going to come off, and it doesn't come off of photo paper. But and see, always too, when you have your paint skins, always look at the back side. There's different patterns that go on the back as well, that you might even like the back side more than you do the front side. That's also something to be cognizant of. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.